speaking. The rest of those professional board managers on the left, me first on the left. So at this time, I'm asking, city manager, please go ahead and, share with us a bit about the city.
Before we put our seat on, we're going to take about 10 minutes on each side. I ask you more questions, or if you can, I think it's best about the comments. If you have any questions about the slide, you can write it down, and then again, when the start, we can ask you questions on the comments. And then we'll put these slides now. And for those who come to the meetings, will follow us on live stream. Most of these slides, we do every week, and then follow up with a post on the next day when the meeting is completed. We also do either a 5-month receipt update on the first and last Thursday of every month. And this information is there too. It's also on our new website. Very soon, updating our website. This week, it's part of a 2-year orientation strategy to kind of bring us up to date with our IT platform. It's really enhanced. It has a chatbot service, AI service, all those things. Eventually, over the next 6 months, those bits on get more and more utilized. Also go to get to that point, so you have to come in and do stuff from the city, to the county, the house, paperwork, now you're doing it, you just submit your business license, your permits, all those things. That's a big thing for the city. It has some time, on the very process that's supposed to be done, and I want to take your sense teaching all the work and do that effort, make it more. So, next slide, please. And this is the vision of the city and the mission that drive our mission. Again, we do this every week. This is the city plan. For those that are familiar with the city plan, come on, who are these are, this is the city plan. We have a 10-year city plan we try to stick to. This falls in line with two of our historical documents. They try to do us on who good based on decision making. And right now, we're in the term, years 2 through 4. And I'm going to read some of them that you can see. So again, we are updating all of our policies and these are all the people right now for all our policies. We talk more about that over the next 90 days as to which way we put. A lot of us items require policy change. This pretty much is the pressure right now. So we're reflecting on some things that have been saying over the years. And of course, with my regular course, I mentioned the technology and public stories, instruction needs, as well as script needs, rules, water, and food, and I know that is going on in the community. And then a long-term strategy. I'm going to talk about this not right now. District 11 is where the city of Cross following all this water districts from the TV services. We should have an update, and doing that update, we provide a legislative update of all the House bills, the Senate bills, currently going through now. Those are approved, and those are adopted. And we're going to say read that. I want to say that I don't see what it's in right now. But I believe before we have that meeting, we're playing one of the legislators. The total again, the people saying that's very important. We already understand a lot of things you see, you could not see, whether specific weight loss or not specific weight loss. We're going to provide right now for what they said. Greg said every time before, this has been at least updating education through the bill as far as city bill operations. We're trying to figure this out right now. We have a lot of options in place. That's on contact me, things that they do. And I know when I had her see, it's what I services. I mean, it's important, I mean, it is important. But we know everybody understand how that makes sense in the form of the service. Anyway, they can talk about that. And some of these decisions that being made will really change how people are living. And that's why it's very important, if you can, if you come through, you budget briefing, you do it starting the first, May, and you follow online. And we give you your permissions to ask questions about input. Again, it's going to be a new world community for us, and again, it's not just big cost, it's every municipality, it's more people traveling. So, that's it, and we keep on doing that. The two highlights, the reason why zones, is everyone who needs zone, zones. And you look there, you can see, I think if I do a change that plus means you can see the last, depending on the song, but this is very important because there's a lot of more operations efficient about it. Okay, infrastructure. And again, you put all this out in our meetings, and I'll keep saying that because if it's something that's like, we know we about where we can't live all these, some of you have Facebook, some of you don't call YouTube. These are really our own ways to communicate outside of face-to-face reform. So, if you can, we'll try to watch one of those videos. So if you can, additionally, we upload this every day. So we call our Facebook page, and we post our latest update. Where we are, every day in the city, where we are. I'm gonna talk about this kind of previously, you understand. So this is just a small snapshot. So as far as infrastructure, right now, Congress, in one school, they're out doing, concrete repair is one of the 4 5. So concrete repair is really things. It can be sidewalk, it can be some street work, it can be some prep work, brick roads,
I thought it started at 6:30.
anything concrete related.
6 o'clock. You're good. You're good.
So that means for, traffic service call. Well, service call is something, if you guys put in a request, your online post, and call in for an app, that's a lead service call, that we need to use our people. For a service call, we really can, if we call in, say, we have a now tree, or now power, or water, or sewer. And that's just all. And we got those every day. So we try to get every day good. Really makes is just doing our infrastructure problems that the city owns. Groundings, we do our properties that the city owns. That's our parks, our park areas, our libraries, as far as cutting maintain those. Tree crop, and short food, that kind of goes in line with groundings. And then quick food, that kind of goes in line with groundings, very well. When I say more, again, those are right ways, now. And then we made it pretty much the pressure. The rest of the we do for instruction, we call that a page. You see that every day, it's going to update now. For some days, it might be long. You do it and that's all. But you let it go, you will come or substance back. And the engineer roads are the other roads, trucks. We have to do this week. As we go 2 days, or again, every time we look around, we put one of them, was someone that is, found a lot of issues, that took the place, we actually mercy, placement, there's a problem. And we had a few of those, over the last, week, we'll talk about it, but, senators that we know right now on Oak Street, they really have to figure out their, time. And these blocks, you never see what, for when, and I know that you're open senior, and it, we think that I seen like this, $5, it's going to be, it's the, increase, concrete, moving forward, we got to take a phase approach to some of our most business. These are sweet roads and big crops. Right now, I'm going to do that's people, but they have started pushing too. So when they do that, they have to cut over the street, kind of fix things. And they just put up the very thing right now, pay over the road. In 1986, I actually pay over that right now. So this is on the road. You can talk so long. When you go around it, you're not going to do right now until they go up here, so we need to slow down. Slow down means you won't see it. That's very important. Good goals, and those good goals, actually, I guess good goals going up for me, and it's me, as well as the next street improvement goals going up for me. And issues, 2 and 5, but right now, I really goals are in issue 2. The next set of goals will be, we have 2 and 3, we have 3 will be in issue 5 and 4. So, and again, this is a mandate, if you want to, and so, 4 goals, I won't say anything right now, right now, plus 6, those here, and we get more, so we are scared that all of them, probably next year, that's what I'm saying. You see that 4th Street and 10th Street Park. Again, these are $1 million products. And the $1 million was the wrong time. And by passing that, and that cost and you have to fix it now. Because if you don't fix it, you really answer that. And these are the next roads we're going to pay. It's on street pay program. We do not put bridges, roads, but they have our water system. We use the water and do that. What we do, after this tax, we not first, we'll really validate the streets and roads we cross. We do services, we do need that, pretty much as the road, we're gonna prepare, with this, change after, and then all 514, maybe, the three parts. So, you might see the road, you'll see them right now. And well, you might even, we'll do this, we'll do this sometime in the future. We that. Next thing on the whole news for the city, we move to another hand. I was always recognize one of this she started before as far as the next meetings and SBs and higher position process. What this is, for those who don't follow, right now, I step out the street, and of course, they out the street, me, I can't see out. This time, still, everybody, once I perform that, new position I can create. That's a big item. You go there, not that's what want to do. Not talk about. Because if you want to see it, you can't walk away. It's all kind of cancel down. Walk off the place without seeing it, you can't sit down. So, the good news is that the plan and budget, the all this way we have, especially over 35 years, all that we have now from so this is a great thing. We can start. We pop up fields on meetings for we can go down for probably 18 months, 4 months, but now that it's been program funded and really going and we exactly. Just about it's low across the board. He's a coach. And we go like this again, arguments, and we send commission a list all the property groups. And I want to say this, people ask me all the time, the communication, we got to we will find the kind of person and we don't take embarrassment but yeah, if we call for we can see it sometimes it's not anymore, which is only problems take 2 years. Yes, you will get out. I don't think that's a good so, you'll have our home here. We have a home, and let's just say that the last home was sitting on, we transition. I thought all apart, we read our home, and we get calls. We are trying to find this home for sin. Sometimes the defendant, if you recognize the lives in the house, who's not aware of what's going on with his home. And really, like, I'm not home now, yeah, anything about their own system. You take a court, we have two we all had time to make a meeting. So that not remember the last days pretty much sometimes before until the door said and smash. And then you find out, oh, we got 2 members we look like this. So once all that done, those 18 people months and 3 4, we get them this old being was the better being. Or being of which is sample with the books. I always thought that this is very good. If I had most of them, you know, I think it's really the way about that thing. So, if you work with it, you will look at that property, and I say anything that you can do, all you do is, and you will see that it's and of course, the ideas will be a process. These last I thought the is about trying to make this away from the standard patients who understand about the technology. And we see back to my first word change, not change, as far as I think we did not. And we should change the outcome. So, what that so here, and so for 17 people there, which is us. We have other funds, so we need these roads. So the spot of the pay, any reason that they include us, we don't want the roads, upgrade the pay service. This can be a little bit, quite funny, you know what I'm saying? And they're putting out the, so we don't have any other means of living to do these roads. Some little things, but these big things, they do require some which may come and stuff. Yeah. Also, the spot, we put in there, big person. Our people, we've been waiting, it's not there. We have some things that know the past. Again, not like individuals, not like individuals. We got no more completely break down and take the shot. That's what we need to do. You don't get your trucks from the shot. In most cases, we try to be very new trucks for it. That will cost. In some cases, we have to do it. Then, always road, quite fast. Because I was on the road, clear, road, and it's trucks. And then about the service, may not be told what the minister of fire is again, you do have a hand car, and you do have a truck. That's it. So that's why the problem we have to be a you see that part, it's not context, and it's there. I'm not but I do more issues that I will conversation and the city is one of the taxation, we buy services, being, make services, being, fire, public works, and that's more than that. Taxation, and we collect taxes, and those taxes, we fund those services, and pay what we do for others, and that's it. The insurance, and I think somebody also, in the conversation, I'm not sure, they also is the feedback, what we do, there's a lot of people, simply, next, probably. Now, we're not told people, also, doing and say, and protect more, every with that, I promise you will take, that 15 years. I'm not there in the budget, right now, this is decided, the last is decided to, catch up. We have to do something before. said, what I think is again, the politics, we got it. Again, we have close. We will get to, the problem that is that we will hold you back to move those pull the paper on. Then we have to the government services, the police services, because the city is not home. That's the case. So, taking that off quickly. All that out is taking the different services. And again, that's getting over here. That's how you do it. That change, you can see it, we had another system, you got another system, and do what I'm doing today. The system, is more awesome, and this week was to figure out. Right now, people are spending, we're not here. We try to live on the we plan a game almost every month, what we will not. This is a good process. And then, by the time we do the city made, they got the question process. They are there. That's very important. When we are able to stop, so they're not really how we do. They consider language. It's pretty important, change, really, services, do not. So, again, I ask you, as veterans, what we have, also, the answer is what I ask. Again, I'm about time. Don't say, explain what we see. Right. This is how we say, maybe, we have many ways to we decide about that. We have to do things, we call rules, we do some breaks. Operate the work, we sometimes it's an online work, or sometimes we do a phone call, email, and text, and we do that. Right now, we'll have we do it and all 13,000. Then we know sometimes we know that. You don't call, you take them. And again, we do the needs. We decide to things who are and we want to be. We can make a way this is very important. I said, how many can do, like we see in we do that all the time, especially, operation. Last day, if you got time, this time, our business, we say we do not, and then our market, so we can say, and say, more than over time, with it, that decision, that this information on, so that's why we put up. You have to have that open. So now that, we want to waste, we want to be professional, we want to, have a sharing of that, and put us on the that's all we do. But do not get to this point. We got 100%. We want to at the same time, we need ways to see north side go this we go. We're going to have many more that the whole meeting get things like earnest right here. You do a good job, you can understand. They're not a group. Some years, some years. Want to know detail. Not high, great, but where this is. So we don't have
some money down, and I forget how much. It was a pretty sizable amount, and we're now renovating the parks. As you can see with District 2, District 3, and District 1, we've done a lot of improvements, and now it's time for District 5. If you notice, back down behind the small mart and the old Fred Voigt field, we are now redoing that, and we're making that into a football field for those midget and those people that want to play football and want to do those type things. And there's going to be a playground area with a convenience area for concessions and stuff like that, and a little park, dog park and stuff like that. This is money that has to be going towards those parks. We can't put them in anything else. It has to go towards parks. So this is what we're doing there. And I'm just skimming. Street and transportation improvements. Dirt road, he highlighted that about the dirt road dirt road improvements, the traffic flow enhancements, community safety. That's big. That's big. Police and fire presence is big. We encourage that in all of the neighborhoods, not only District 5. We ask for extended presence to combat those areas where we see a need. We don't intentionally run over areas, but we want to give a equal spread out amount over these areas so they'll know that if something goes down, we can be there within 1 or 2 minutes. And I applaud Chief for that as well. Code enforcement, he spoke on code enforcement. We're trying to make sure that your property value doesn't go down by making other ones be held accountable for theirs. So it's not picking on someone, it's making yours remain valuable to you. So let me see here. And I'm trying to rush through these things here because we got a pretty good bit much. Key challenges and consideration, rising costs. Everything's going up. Commissioner Simmons, I went to DC last month. When was that? 7 months ago. And everybody's complaining. Everybody, each cities. And we sat with some people from Salt Lake City and they were complaining about the cost of this, that, and the other. And we're all scratching our heads. How are we going to manage the cities? How are we going to manage? Because everything is going up. Water, utility, everything's going up. So we're going to have to tighten our belts. And some things are going to have to come to where we may not like. But it's because we don't have the income. We do not have the income. And with that piece of legislation that tried to go through with our legislators, you got to call them. They're not local public servants. They don't have a clue what goes on locally. They get up there to Atlanta and they just throw these things across the board because it's election time. Everybody wants less taxes, so they're going to get support going in. But when that happens, we have a shortfall. We have a shortfall. Everybody loves lower taxes, but you want better roads, you want better fire protection, you want better police protection, and we have a great ISO. We have an ISO rating of 2. Everybody gets hit with the ISO rating when you have your home insurance evaluation. If you have a 6, 7, and 8, you're going to get hit higher with insurance premiums. We have a 2. That's the only reason we don't have a 1 is because we don't have that long ladder, Chief. Long ladders to go up in these 4 or 5 story buildings because we don't have them. So that's the only reason we're not at 1. So I applaud Chief and his guys for maintaining that for us to keep our insurance costs down for us. In closing, I'm trying to read here to hit some good points here. Expanded housing, public spaces, safety, strength, continued engagement, shared understanding, and open communication will be key as we move ahead. With that, let me see if I have anything else. Legislative, we've gone over that. The legislative updates, House Bill 1116 about the property taxes, SB 33, and that was the Senate's bill. Same thing. It just turned over upside down like a pancake. That's all it is. We continue to grow and service demands will increase, but revenue flexibility becomes more limited. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Commissioner Simmons, and I apologize for rushing it because there's a lot, and we're going to give you a little bits from time to time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Good evening, everyone. And as I begin, I would like to just thank you for coming out today, because I want to say this is your government, and we are here only as servants to serve you and try to do the very best we can for you. Because as a pastor, I believe in servanthood. I believe in serving people and doing so. That's why I'm here. I thank you for voting for me, the ones that did, and if you didn't, I'm still here for you, because I elected to serve the people, take care of your needs without regards of whether you like me, you don't like me, you like what I do, you don't like what I do. So I encourage you to, first of all, be visible. We would love to see you at commission meetings. I know you can't come to all, but it's great to see people sitting in those seats. I was speaking to a gentleman the other day from over around Douglas, and he was saying that he just longs for people to be there. So please come out. We need your support. We need your encouragement. We need your criticisms. But I won't be long. So many things that Mr. Nelson addressed, I won't. As it says here, bottom line up front, I believe in neighborhoods. I believe in sound neighborhoods. Understand that every neighborhood is not going to be the same, but you should still be able to live in a nice, safe neighborhood. I grew up in the Branch. I grew up on the Hill, and all our neighborhoods were not the best all the time, but we took care of what we had. So I'm looking for ways to help residents that can't help themselves. I spoke to our grant writer, in fact, city manager, where I spoke to her, and she's looking to see different grants to help with neighborhoods. So we're going to be doing those things to focus on improvements in your neighborhood, improvements around your neighborhood, because in so many cases where citizens can't meet code on things, then we need to be able to help them some. Can't help people that own properties and things like that for real, but we can help residents. So I'll be working on that. I'm a big believer in neighborhood conditions. As I said, where I grew up, everybody didn't have the finest, but we believed in taking care of what we had. And I'm going to say this too. If you have an issue with something, don't go by what you hear in the street or what you read. Call me. My number's out there. I'm visible. I'm available. I will, if I don't answer, I will call you back. Will I not, Rev Malone? Amen. I'm here for you. Providence remains that we're going to be dealing with that. There's lots of overgrowth, especially in District 2. I think in some cases we probably have the worst. So we're going to be working on that. We're trying to work with citizens to help them get that done. Going to be following up on complaints and things like that. Amen. Amen. Housing Authority conditions. We are also going to be meeting with the Housing Authority about things in Tebow Street housing, Reagan Circle, and I think Commissioner Sanders is going to be meeting with them about Garlington Heights, because there's some things need to be approved out there. So we're going to be visible in those places for you. We do, like I said, I'm looking for ways to target revitalization of areas. I'm talking to gentlemen now, and one gentleman and his wife, about housing on South Side. They're interested in doing some housing on South Side to work on those areas that are out there between Marion Street and Blackwell Street, going out to improve that area. As he mentioned, infrastructure. We do have infrastructure problems. Our water system, our sewer system's in bad shape. It's in bad shape. And for so many years, and I'm not throwing off anybody, but so many years it was passed over, not on my, there's a thing called NIMBY, not in my backyard, not on my watch. And so many times things are passed over, and now it's time that we really have to deal with it. Why? Because it's gotten so bad. So we're going to try to do that and work with the citizens the best we can to not make it so hard on you on costs. But we're going to do all we can to do that. I won't be doing a lot of money in parks because my parks have been worked on. I will do some in some parks that haven't had anything done to them, but the park behind Peachwood Apartments is probably the nicest park. There's a small park in the Branch. I want to see what needs to be done to bring that one up. And just make sure our parks look good and they're usable by the citizens. Community safety. As Mr. Rayford mentioned, in District 2, District 1, 2, and 3, we have Carter Z, which is to me like almost an interstate coming through our neighborhoods. And I'm really excited they're going to do some things to help us enhance safety over there. And you have to understand what Carter Z, it's a state highway. So things we get done at the city, we have to get approval from them, or they have to do them, or we can't do them all. I know some have been concerned about a traffic light at Blackwell and Carter Z. We've gone to the state several times. We'll try it again to see if they will, but they keep saying no, no, no. And we can't put a light there ourselves. We do have an agent, and as far as challenges, we do have aging house stock. But I had Department of Community Affairs down some years ago, And in District 2, they said what they really liked about District 2's architecture was eclectic. And they said if we can improve those homes, then that will make those nice neighborhoods. And we can. Working with the citizens, doing what we can and finding ways to get those things done, and prayerfully for grants. District 2, it says it may always come, not always come in large visible projects, but I'm here, I'm telling you here, I'm working steadily for you. I'm going to work for you like I did when I was here 11 or 12 years ago. I'm going to be out in the community getting things done. I'm going to be looking for ways to make your lives better. I didn't ask you to vote for me to sit down and get pats on the back. I believe in rolling up my sleeves and working for you. I believe in listening to your complaints and trying to the best of my ability to solve them. So I encourage you to call me. If you don't have my number, don't have my cards, I'll get them to you so that you can contact me with anything you need to know. And with that, I'm going to end. But I do thank you for being here today. And I do want to hear your questions so that we can answer.
So I'm going to turn the lights on, if you will, and we're going to have a Q&A. We have, I think, 2 questions, and we solicit more questions because we want to. That's the wrong one, baby. There you go. Okay, that's cool. We want to basically hear from you guys because. I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I came back in for one reason because my wife and I did this for a reason because we believe in Waycross. We think Waycross is going to be a great place to live, and I know this. We can't share some of the things that we know, but Waycross is moving. Waycross is moving, and everybody can get a piece of this pie. Not just one neighborhood, not just one district, but all 5. And without saying too much, with the next 5 to 8 years, we're going to be booming more than Brunswick and Valdosta. They know this in Atlanta. They know this. And we're here at this time because this commission, all 5 guys on this board believe it's time to grow. It's time to stop all the bickering and arguing and fussing. We're ready to make this thing happen here in Waycross because I'm tired of being the butt of jokes when we go to Atlanta, always compared to Douglas. Douglas has nothing more than we have. Nothing more than we have. And I'm encouraged that I told Mayor Park at the last meeting, he's the mayor of Douglas. I said, you wait. You wait about 3 years, you're going to be coming to me for advice. So this is what I believe. And at this time, if the city manager had anything he wished to say, feel free, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. So we have a few questions. I'll answer these, and then I'm going to turn it over. If we don't have any questions from the group, I'm gonna turn it over to the both chiefs, and they're gonna kind of give a quick fire update, and I'll talk on the fire a little bit too. So one of the questions that we have, I'm gonna read the question. So this comes from District 5. Do the residents of Waycross know about dog ordinances? Well, pet ordinances. If not, how can they be informed if they know, and what can be done about blatant violations? So this has been one of the more difficult infractions for us to kind of mitigate with the animals, because in some cases you may feel like it's breaking a rule, but it's not. Definitely with the barking the dogs. I don't like it either. I don't like the cats, all the cats. But if it's not breaking the rule, it's hard to just go make somebody do something. But I will say this: the commission did charge that we change, totally revamp our animal policy. What we're doing right now. We talked about it at the retreat. We talked about it at a few of the meetings, and right now the codes department is going through modifications. It's going to be a lot of modifications. You probably heard me say this before. We're definitely going to raise the fees and the fines about animal cruelty, animals without leash, animals as far as vicious attacks. That means bites or threats. That means breeding. All those things. As well as registration process. Because right now, I know you see a stray animal. It is very difficult for us to hold somebody accountable when we don't know who animal that is. And nobody assumes we should know, but we don't know. So all we can do is, capture the animal and take them to an already crowded shelter. Because unfortunately, a lot of our residents irresponsible pet owners just let the animals go in the middle of the night. So it's hard to keep up with them. So that registration process is not meant for us to put some type of what is about oversight. But the oversight only meaning that we know who the animal belongs to, because in some cases, when an animal jumps a fence or climbs out a fence, the first thing we want to do is get it back to the owner. That's the first thing we want to do. But if we can't do that, then we definitely want to know who the animal belongs to. With that too, we're looking at doing a chipping program. The chipping program will also allow us to return the animal to the rightful owner, and also hold the owners accountable in a whole bunch of regards. We're looking at our fence ordinance. If you didn't know, there's a certain amount of distance and square footage you have to have a fence for no animals. So, and that's all already been in the policy. The question actually people don't know. We ask residents all the time. If you got a question, just call up. That's the main job of code enforcement. Their job is not to come out there and mess with anybody. It's to inform the public of the policies. But if you got a question, I say this all the time, ask them first. If you got a question about any of the home renovations, come see them first. If you think about buying a home, come see them first. A lot of times people get into these situations not understanding the full cost of a thing, but with the animal policy, we will be updating that. I have the commission made about 38 changes to the charter. So I'm trying to figure all this out right now, all the changes they want to make. And I'm laughing with them, but I'm not laughing with them. But it's a lot of changes that we're trying to make. And some of those require some legal review. Some of those require state legislation review. And then some of those require myself and the team. We got to figure out how we're going to, if it's a new policy, how we're going to enforce it. But the animal policy is one of those at the top because we really want to get that under control. It's as well as the shelter capacity. We did make upgrades on the shelter already. We did make the shelter. Do we do the outside of the shelter already? Do you know? Okay. Yeah. So one of the goals was to increase the shelter capacity, but with the shelter, it's not meant to be a forever home. It's meant to house the animals until we can get them to the rightful owners. And we can't get them to the rightful owners. If we can't get them a home, then they can't just stay there. You have to read into that statement. And that's a hard conversation we're going to have because that is a funding requirement we do not budget for. So I know that's a lot of our animal lovers don't like to hear that. But again, I will ask all our pet owners, you got to be more responsible as well. It's all our problem, not just code enforcement problem. So that's one of them. There was a question about the housing authority. Commissioner mentioned it. So we are going to do a Pacific Housing Authority town hall. So they'll be doing different town halls, regular town halls. Like District 3 going to do a regular town hall for District 3, and they'll have housing authority there. But we're going to do a separate town hall with just all the housing authority because we got different areas of housing that we're going to do. I don't know the date of that yet. We're going to try to probably get that done probably in June. Got to pick a date. And that's when we have the housing authority present for your questions. I will say this with the housing authority, like we said earlier, everybody is facing significant challenges. To include them, the housing authority is part of the HUD program. So their funding is very limited in what they can do. Not to excuse basic human needs, not to excuse those, but other things, they're not receiving the same funding they got in the past. So they got to make changes as well. But that's something that's going to come up. Housing inventory. So over the last 3 years, we've had over 200 units added to the inventory right now. Unfortunately, that's mainly apartments and duplexes. But we have had 10 homes renovated, and we have 10 homes either renovated or new homes currently being renovated or being built from the ground. So that's a great thing. Memorial Highway. So they came, what was it, last weekend, 2 weekends? So I might contact GDOT. Maybe I did this last year. I don't know. Between me and the staff, we phone calling, putting in requests, all that stuff, and they just show up. I know it's an inconvenience, but the Memorial Highway needs some work too. So just being straight up, transparent, we might not know they're coming, and they might just show up on a Saturday and start fixing the road. I know that's, not the ideal situation. I would love for them to call myself or Matt or somebody, and we can block it off and get out there. But 9 times out of 10, they're not going to call. They're going to contract that work, and they're going to come out there like they did a couple weekends ago, and they're going to do a large stretch of the highway. Very unfortunate, but that's how they operate. We're thankful that they are starting to come do that, because my first 2 years, they would never come. I don't know what kind of relationship we had, but I'm excited to say now we got a much better relationship, thanks to the team over here, informing me of some historical stuff, and us reaching out to GDOT trying to work on things. The commissioner mentioned the light, the stoplight. That study is about 6 months. In 6 months, it'll be done. The stoplight at Blackwell. It's probably going to come back saying it does not meet the qualifications. However, what we're going to do when they start the bypass work down here in Ozzie Davis, again, all that traffic's going to come down through Corridor Z. The study is measured on number of vehicles that come down Corridor Z. So when those numbers come up, then we'll qualify for a light. Does that make sense? So we're going to do the study again. It's going to be another year, but it should qualify then. And then we'll get that light there. That's the plan right now. And GDOT knows this as well, because unfortunately for them to get their funding, they got to have that data showing that, hey, I think it's every eight hours they got to have, I want to say 90 cars come through the intersection. I think that's what it is. Right now it ain't happening that way, but guarantee when that traffic starts going that way, it will happen. So we're kind of looking forward to that. I'm kind of read is there no ambulance service in Waycross? Emergency vehicles. I'm gonna let the fire chief explain how we set up with emergency services, because the city maintains the fire department, but the county maintains emergency service. I'm gonna turn it over to Chief for his remarks here in a second. All right, it's a big one. The trains blocking the roads. No, this is a great question. No, this is a great question. All right, so we just had a meeting on this actually last week about that. Yeah. So as you say, this is Waycross, and there are trains here, and all that's true. With the trains, I know there's a lot of information out there about stuff that we somehow can find the train people. That's not true. That 2016, they happened in Florida for $750, but that fine was not related to the train stopping on the track. There was another major issue where the train had damaged some of the city's property. I am looking into that. If they damage our property as far as the intersection, but that's just not true. The CSX is a federal agency. Everybody knows that already. And I know, let me throw a disclaimer out there too. We are appreciative of CSX. They do bring jobs here, regionalization, modernization, all those things that make Waycross thrive. But at the same time, they do propose inconvenience in many cases with these stop trains. This goes back again to the questions of your state legislators when they increased the length of those engines and the trains 3 years ago. So this is one of those things that we ask residents. Of course, your commissioners, they're going to go up and talk about this at the next session, but you need to do it too. You need to ask, why are y'all letting the trains be so long? Because there's a proposal to let them get even longer to save costs. And, a longer train is even worse on us. But that being said, we cannot impose any fines on a stop train. However, what we can do, and I put this out a few times, CSX website has on their portal, they have a link on there where you can put in complaints and concerns. Every Monday, I put in complaints and concerns. And some of my staff, they send me emails on when the train's been stopped, how long it's been stopped, and I put that in there. Been doing it for 2 years now. Haven't really gotten any feedback on it, but it's something we can be doing because it does go to corporate headquarters, and it's a great mechanism. It allows you to put down the how long the train stopped, when it stopped, the date, the roads, all those things. Do that every Monday. As far as that. So in that, we really can't do anything other than that. But I feel like once the two overpasses get done, and a few other things. Now we're talking years. I want to say this. It will be slightly better. Will it ever get fixed? I doubt it. I'm gonna get your question, man. We did talk about the doing the train app, and we're still looking into that. But right now, talking to the commission, just looking at our finances, we're trying to reprioritize all those initiatives on what we should do and what we can do. But we are looking through that. I did see value in it. We will do the pilot just to see how it works, to get the true funding cost to it. But right now, there's really not anything we can do with the trains. And again, I know that's unfortunate for everybody, but it is what it is right now. With that, I just ask everybody every day, and Chief Coxon and can talk about this. We got people that run those arms when they're down. That's very dangerous. Just be safe out there. Even those walking on the tracks at night, that's another issue we got. Just please be safe. I can't see any reason why we should be walking across the train tracks at night. Well, with low visibility, but we have that. Every death that we've had, that person was walking at nighttime on the train tracks and they got hit. False person. You had a question? Somebody had a question?
Is it possible to have a flashing light or something that would let, especially people coming through District 4, going across at community? We want to talk about when we get to the KFC place. If there's a flashing light that we can see from a distance, and going all the way up, and then you turn on, go all the way back to over City Boulevard, and try to get a possible more. There's some way we can have signals from CSX at significant places that were
yeah, so two things. So there is a resident. He did put out an app. I haven't really looked at it, but it requires that everybody kind of use that. Yeah, and that's why we kind of put that out. We did talk to CSX. I did talk to them. It's been about 6 months now about putting train on track lights. I know you're talking about. They got them upstate, so you can see if you'll see the light says train on track, and you'll know why just go ahead and go around. So I'm gonna keep asking CSX about that because that's an easy fix. They did change their permits on what we can do on the intersections. That's why that turning light on down by the coffee place. What's the coffee shop down there we was talking about? Eliano's. We had that light about to get changed and then updated, and then CSX changed their permit requirements on us out of the blue. And so now that's got to start over again. You know, it's like a 2-year process. But we are asking that question because that will help out a little bit. We talk about other things as well, and what I'll do, I want to go along with this question, but we're looking at what we can do with that train app. Just so everybody knows, we were going to use it, and it was going to end up being about $25,000 a year. And what it would have done was put a sensor with video at certain intersections, and then through the app, you'd have been alerted, kind of like this, that the train is there, the train is moved, it's been there 30 minutes. We got mixed feedback. Like I say, a lot of times, I'm being transparent. For whatever reason, this turns negative. I still don't understand that because it would have really helped, you know, and it's really cost efficient. But that's an option. You know, it's probably our best option. Even with the bypasses, it doesn't fix the stuff that's in the city as far as the trains being stopped. But we're gonna keep researching that, and then probably propose that again after this current budget passes. Okay.
My Dollar Street and Park.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring that. I think we need to look at
Mhm.
the city, especially during the week. Doctor. Very dangerous.
We talking about a stoplight putting there. That's what. So let me. Okay. Okay. So y'all know we had a light there before. This is why I say it's difficult sometimes when we make decisions, and then people came back and said they didn't want the light there. But
I think what she's saying is that a 4-way stop possibly.
Oh, we could do it. I'm just saying, but before we had it like that, but we okay. I think it was Square. Yeah, McDonald's. Okay. Matt. Yeah. Okay. We'll look into that. But let me kind of ask on that note, even with Ozzie Davis, as far as all the streets coming on Ozzie Davis, Ozzie Davis is when they designed this, they designed it wrong. And so the 2 lanes right now are definitely not in compliance. So we made the post about them changing it to mimic Albany Avenue, and they will pay for it because that's gonna come back up on our budget next year. We need to get some feedback on that now, because from the city's perspective, we feel like that's a win. Let me restate that again. So what they want to do for Ozzie Davis, they want to pull that up from Plant Avenue all the way down to the bypass and make Ozzie Davis, which is 2 lane right now, become 1 lane like Albany. But if you look at the study, traffic will move faster if it's like Albany versus how it is right now. So yeah, I can prove it to you. It will be faster. More than that, Ozzie Davis needs a lot of work, like over $100 million work, and we'll never have that money. And GDOT is right now willing to fix all that work for us if they're allowed to change the lanes. But let me say this: if you get a chance, just when you're riding down Albany Avenue, just look how the cars in front of you, how they turn off, and then think about when you're Ozzie Davis. Just think about it, and then get with your commissioner, because I promise you, it's much more efficient on Albany than it is on Ozzie Davis. But that will, I'm bringing that up because you got a lot of blind turns. You got the speeding, a lot of things that would fix. Just take a look, because that's going to come back up on next year's discussion. Yes, ma'am. You got another question?
Certain properties, property. You have to have a licensed contract to do it. That is very expensive. I understand the electrical part of it, the lights, and the electric is on, but in order for you to get water at the facility, you have to have a licensed contract. That's very expensive. Part of time and wait for too. Is it necessary? And I found that other cities it's not necessary to solve.
Okay, so I can give you an answer. I don't know if I can give you an answer. I don't know if you would like to answer, but let me again, when the commission made a comparison to like other cities and stuff like that, I got to highlight the code team. We are one of the few cities that have certified code inspectors. A lot of cities don't have certified code inspectors, so when they do all this work, it's not certified. And here's the problem with that. So when the time comes, like the fires and the hurricanes, and you're trying to get insurance coverage, and it wasn't certified inspected, they're not covering it. I know everybody can't see that, and they think code is a hindrance, but it actually saves money and actually saves lives. Yeah, but I'm just opening up because sometimes my code people get a lot of negative aspects. So other cities right now, we're talking about all these things that are happening. They're getting sued now. Right now, a lot of Blackshear getting sued right now for a lot of their building work. Douglas. So we can. Not trying to call anybody out, but we really need residents to understand how this stuff really works. So that's part of it. But to your concern, that's one of the changes that the commission has trying to put in place. But again, I have to figure out safety wise, because sometimes we give an inch and a lot of residents take a mile, and then if it's your property, fully understand, if you're going to live in it, do what you want to do. But if for a rental property and somebody else got to come in there, we got to really think about that person coming in, because a lot of our homes are unsafe, just being honest. But that is something that they're looking at, the water, and actually it's on the, yeah. No, I got you, but Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I understand. Gotcha. It is on the agenda.
We've addressed that. We're going to address that.
Yeah. It's on the
Right.
agenda for actually for this week. As far as this week, it's actually on the agenda for this week. Okay. Douglas has good paying jobs, but no housing. There's feeling that someone blocks energy from coming to. So this is a great question. So they say Douglas has jobs, good paying jobs, but no housing. There's a feeling that someone blocks industry from coming to Waycross. So the city, we have no real play in industry coming anywhere. That's not one of our services. That is for the downtown area. That's the Downtown Development Authority. For the industrial area, that's the Waycross-Ware County Development Authority. Those are two separate agencies that are responsible for bringing industry here in the city. City doesn't have anything to do with that until they get here. Example being when a Wawa gets here, once they get here, then we help facilitate their transition here by making sure they have water and sewer city services, and also that their buildings, if they do a existing building, is up to code. The other part is on the other two agencies as well as our residents, as far as industry come here and why they don't come here. Again, we want to be having these honest conversations. When they evaluate the city of Waycross, they come here and evaluate a few things. First, they evaluate our schooling. And y'all heard me say this before. How many PhDs do we have? How many masters do we have? How many bachelors do we have? How many training certified? Like I think you said, it's hard to find a contractor. How many trained people do we have? How many certified and trained plumbers, electricians do we have? We got a lot of people that can do electrical work and plumbing work, but they ain't certified. So legally, they can't do no work. They also look at the population density as far as age and those things. And they take that and they look at our spending and our sales and what areas do we spend our money in. Goes back to the conversation of sales tax. They take that figure, that raw number, and they make a determination, as well as other businesses here that might be competitive to them. Should we bring something here? So that's the decision right there. It's not that the cities, we bend over back. If anybody wants to come here, we try our best. But at the same time, I'm gonna go back to the discussion the commissioners got to make. There was a time that we allowed a business to come here and not pay for water and sewer coming in here for years. That's not fair to our current residents. Especially if a large business comes. Because that taxation goes to providing services. So that part we don't do. We made that decision. But everything else, we are the biggest cheerleaders. I get calls every day, and again they monitor our Facebook. You probably heard Mr. Jason. I can't ever say Jason's last name. The authority, the authority development lead talk about the importance of not, talking bad about your city. For that reason, we have a lot of that going on about the city of Waycross. So if anybody's turning business away, it's the city of Waycross, and that's the problem we got to fix. I say all the time, if you got a problem with a business, tell them on the spot. That's what I do. When y'all send us emails, I talk to the team, depending on what's going on. Y'all go talk to this business owner, tell them, if it's a restaurant, it's bad service that day. We go talk to them. I say, hey, because we don't want to be on Facebook because they had a bad day. Now you saying it's a horrible business, and it might be a competitive business coming in and see this, and then they decide to come in. Has that happened? Yes, that's happened. And that's why, like I say, we all a part of this. It's all our problem. We all the solution. We got to want to see Waycross. The commission said we want Waycross to thrive and drive. Then we all got to be part of the solution. I'm not saying not hold nobody accountable. If a service not provided correctly or incorrectly or fraudulently, tell somebody so we can fix it. But too often we badmouth it and we throw names and stuff like that, and then they don't want to come here.
Let me add this, Mr. Manager. There's a concern. There's a perception that as someone wrote about, that when businesses try to come in, there's someone or some entity trying to keep them out. Mm-hmm. We've acknowledged that, and we're trying to set the narrative to where it's not the city. Mm-hmm. We beg for people to come in.
Yes,
we give them every opportunity to get this. If they promise to come in, get that. On the other hand, there's the county not throwing slight at anyone or any group, but when they don't have the same priorities as you do, or they don't see the urgency in getting these jobs coming in, that's a problem, because they're coming in looking at the city and the county helping give them what they need to come on in. And when you only have one part of that or one leg of that chair standing, it ain't gonna stand, and they're gonna go somewhere else. Mm-hmm. So, not saying that there are nefarious things at hand, but I'm gonna leave it right there that we are doing what we can. When we know of someone, sometimes we don't even know. Sometimes we're not even told. And we find it out through the grapevine, and that's disrespect. So I'm saying to say this, he's doing what he can. And we're helping him do his job. So I'm going to leave it right there.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thank you, Commissioner. And then this other part of this question said Douglas has good jobs, paying jobs. So if you do a comparison, taxes, jobs, we're doing better than Douglas. I'm not trying to be big on that, but I mean, I think people, we need to probably do a better job explaining that. I mean, anchor businesses. I mean, so their anchor industry, you know, they have the distribution plant, chicken plant, a few things we don't have. But when you go into other businesses, we have more other businesses here versus them. It's not a fight between us too, because we should want the region, all of us, to thrive. So all the jobs to thrive. So there's some people that work here in the city of Waycroft, they live in Douglas, and vice versa. That's a great thing, because we do want businesses, industry that's thinking about coming here to look at us regionally at all our numbers, because that's the most important thing. I use the numbers game. We tried to get a business here the first year I got here, but they want to service a population of 55,000 residents. And of course, if it's just Waycroft saying, hey, come here, versus, you know, the county, even with the county, we still ain't there to that number. So it's great when regionally, us, Blackshear, Douglas, Alma, Tift, all these places around us, we all say the same thing. So even if the industry goes to another city, then, you know, if you have the housing inventory, they'll come here. If they want to shop, they might, you know, because we got different stores. We got different products that we sell locally here that Douglas doesn't have. They got stuff there we don't have. So people shop both ways. That goes back to the sales tax conversation, why it's so important that we have a good sales tax coming in. So with the jobs, though, I just want to make this point. We discussed this at another town hall. Again, it goes back to what are you certified to do? The technical college here and the college here, just go over there one day and walk through those schools and look at the amount of empty classrooms that are over there and all the programs that they have that are free and not free, but cost efficient, almost free in some cases. CDLs, logistics, IT, all these jobs that will be coming here pretty soon. But unfortunately, we would not have the population that has that background or that piece of paper saying you have that training to qualify for these jobs. So that's another thing we got to start doing, especially with our young people. I keep hearing young people leaving. We got a lot of young people here who are not working, you know, who could be working if they would simply take about 6 months to a year to get trained in the professional and certified in professional, which would help all of us out, you know, as far as industry coming here, because they would see a trained and ready workforce. But go to the school, ask some questions, because we got to figure that piece out too, because that's part of the big wheel as well, as far as getting the industry here. And I think I answered.
We need to go to Chief.
Yeah, if there's no more questions for me, we're gonna start. We want to do like a quick fire update, and we'll take some more questions. Quick fire update. I'm gonna let both chiefs talk about it, and as well as Public Works, because what you can't see, I was telling somebody again, to our expenses. Of course, our fire department is out here, on the front lines, with fighting the fires with police support, in some ways. But then our Public Works, our upload of fixing our vehicles is double. So they working just as hard. You can't see it, but they're fixing these trucks as much as they can to keep the fire and the police on the streets and roads. And I think that's something we got to promote more, so people understand when we have these funding conversations, these are the services that's being provided, and they're connected to each other. They're connected to you. So with that, any more questions for me? Because I don't want to. Yes, sir.
Davis,
Yes.
what's the timeline before I tear my vehicle up between T.O. Street and Plant Avenue? I'm straddling, and then in some cases I can't straddle because it's on both sides.
Yeah.
What's the timeline? And I know I asked you this question once before, and you said, well, the state or GDOT
Yes.
want to do some work, and we do the work that pays back. I mean, it's getting worse, man. I mean, how bad it's got to be before either GDOT or the city does something for Oscar Davis, man. It's horrible. You got businesses down there, people frequent. They got to get down there, but they got to tear their vehicle up before they get to the store.
Yes. Yeah, appreciate that question. I drive Oscar Davis at least 4 times a day. I live down that way, so I come in every morning that way, and I straddle too. And I've been here this 3 years, going to my 4th year. I've the first 2 years, I don't know what happened with GDOT, but they were not responsive to anything I asked for or call. I know there's a lot of history and a lot of stuff happened and everything like that. This last year is the first year we've really had positive communications about stuff. So I don't want to overpromise. I do feel like they're gonna work on it now. Again, like Memorial, that was a year phone call about fixing Memorial, because Memorial was bad too with the potholes and stuff. And then they showed up one day, and I was mad because like, man, I could have, but they always fix neither. But they are gonna do it. So and I don't want to overcommit saying this out loud. But I spoke to them last week about Oscar Davis. Again, they really want to just get the overpasses done and then be allowed to just make that be mimic Albany. I got you. I understand. We'll get with the commission, take a look at it. But like I said, we're only budgeted for our streets, and that's $100 million. I mean, it's a lot that's going over there. Maybe we reach out to them again about if they could do a quick resurfacing. We'll reach out and just see if they can do that, and then we'll get some feedback to you. All right. Yeah. Anyone else before I give it to the fire chief? I'm sure. Okay. All right, chief.
Okay. Hey, good evening. Real quick, I was just going to mention somebody had asked about ambulances. The city does not have any ambulances. The county has the ambulance service, and they are housed inside 3 of our fire stations and 1 of the county fire stations. And that's how that works. We do back them up when they get busy. So if you call for an ambulance, you may see a fire truck show up first. We have people who are EMTs and are first responders and can provide basic medical care. So we do work hand in hand. It is a good relationship. But I believe that agreement goes back to like 1985, where the city agreed to house Ware County EMS inside the fire stations. So I hope that answers the question, whoever had asked that question about the ambulances. So just real brief on the fires. The good news is both of them have held inside the lines since Monday. Today was a very pivotal day. They needed to make it through the day with nothing breaking out. We got rain hopefully tomorrow and again this weekend. I got a call last Tuesday. The actual fire in Brantley County started Monday. I got a call Tuesday at lunch requesting a truck go to Brantley County for an immediate need. They actually had many structures on fire. I sent a crew. I went. We worked Monday all night, Tuesday all night. We went back on Thursday when it blew out again. And Friday morning, I got a request from their command that if we would provide a truck and a chief officer for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We did that. The chief officer run a division for them, the structure protection. So I provided a crew with 3 personnel, a truck with 3 personnel. We worked the night shift, including the fire chief. For the first time in a long time, I stayed up all night on Saturday and worked out. And that is a bad situation. They need a lot of prayer. They need a lot of help. The last I'd heard, 150 structures had burned, 82 of those being residential homes. So there's a lot of people without homes and without vehicles and without their business. Several businesses got burnt. since then, since Monday, I have got some stuff to the city manager. We have looked at areas where the city may be vulnerable if they had a wildfire in Ware County that could push into the city. We've looked at some areas where that could push into the city limits. We've also identified some areas inside the city limits that could be vulnerable to a wildfire, not at that magnitude, but we've also identified some of those areas as well. Looked at hydrants and water supply and that kind of stuff. So.
Chief has given us some data, and we're going to put out a presentation. It'll be next week. We got a lot of questions about if the fire was to jump through the swamp and all these scenarios. And I feel like we got a plan, but at the same time, it's Mother Nature. It's not a lot. We don't want to say it never happened. One thing I do want to put out, homeowners insurance and renters insurance. A lot of those homes, they don't have any insurance. FEMA does not cover. And I don't know how they got that they would cover that stuff. FEMA it's not insurance. It's not supplemental insurance. It's for basic momentary needs, food, some hotel stay, stuff like that. What we've learned, and each year here we've had a disaster. I mean, the tornado and 2 hurricanes pretty much every year. And we're going into hurricane season now. And both of those times, we had a lot of our residents, we found out, don't have homeowners insurance or renters insurance. We really need our residents, and I'm not trying to get in anybody's pocket about how their money, but that is so important because we got people right now who never recovered from the hurricane as far as getting their homes fixed. FEMA, they don't provide grants like that. They're definitely not doing it anymore because of their structural changes. So I just ask, and those that are listening right now, really research what your homeowner insurance policy is. If you don't have it, you probably should look into getting it. Same thing if you're renting. We know that 2/3 of our population rent. You probably should get renters insurance as well to cover some of your stuff in there. Because if you do not, once it happens, it's no way to replace that stuff or get it funded. And right now, we are really concerned about that as we're going to hurricane season. Because, like I say, the past 2 storms, we didn't get better on that aspect, and like we should have. So please take that away. And again, what Chief said about the fire, we're gonna put out some information probably next week just to reassure all our residents we are prepared as best we can be for any if the fire was to jump this way. But right now, I think we're protected by the river in some aspects, the swamp in certain aspects. So we should be okay. All right. And are there any questions on the fire effort? Any other questions? All right. Okay, and if you can, tell me just a little bit of public safety on just I mentioned about the drugs and the gangs, just so they're aware of what's going on with that.
Yeah, and so there is a little bit of good news whenever we pulled our stats from 2014 to 2015. The good news is a lot of our violent stuff and a lot of our felony thefts and things of that nature have taken a nosedive. Some of it's been cut by 1/3, some of it been cut by 40%. And so, but just last weekend, I think it was last Friday, we had 3 or 4 young men decided they wanted to start shooting at one another over here off the end of Oak. Down there, it's our young folks, it's our 16, it's our 17-year-olds, it's our 15-year-olds. It's one of those things hard to figure out, but we put we've got a whole section now at the police department of detectives that's their primary function, is to go out and investigate the gang activity, some of the youth things that's going on. And like I said, the good news is we got it coming down. We got it coming down hard because of, I think, a lot of partnerships that we've built in the community. I was making I think our last community meeting before last, I was making an apology to Duke because we had went over budget on our overtime, but it was because we put so much effort. If we hear something or there's a potential something may be going on, we go ahead and we jump out and we put a lot of resources into it to try to prevent it from happening. But like I said, just last Friday we had something happen, and I think we have made arrests, two or three arrests in that scenario. But once again, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. We've been going into the schools. We've been teaching. We've been speaking in the schools on it. And so we're doing our programs, but that's one of those things is a big community effort. I'd like to say the police department had the answers to all of it, but we don't. That's one of those, when we talk about the gangs and stuff, that's one of them scenarios where it's going to take all of us. But like I said, we've got there's a large part of the community is stepping up and they're helping. And because we're only going to be as successful as the community allows us to be. And so we got to have that support. And I think for those reasons, and all the work that our detectives and which are Captain Gregory Young, who's over our criminal investigations, he'll tell you if we have a shooting, something like that, we don't assign one detective to go out and investigate. It's kind of all hands on deck. We pull everybody, whoever's available, they're going to go over. Sometimes it's 5 or 6 detectives jumping on one case. Because one thing that we have learned is, particularly with the youth stuff and with the gang violence, if we have one shooting one night, what's going to happen the next night? We're going to have another shooting because it's tit for tat. Sometimes they have no idea what they're shooting at. Sometimes they're just shooting at drive by and start shooting at a house. And that's why I want to say in 2018 or 2019, I went and pulled all the numbers of, I'll call them victims, even if they were not hit, because they were nearly hit from people shooting in a house. And I'm talking about, I can't recall all off the top of my head, but I'm talking about 2-year-olds barely missed, 5-year-olds barely missed inside a house, a 13-year-old that was hit. Okay. And who were the offenders? Once again, 15, 16, 17-year-olds. A lot of them juveniles. And so, but I think we are making great progress on it. And, but once again, that sort of thing, it takes a community. And sometimes, that's why, we see a 14, 15-year-old out at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. I grew up, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. If you're out and about and in the dark, you ain't up to a whole lot of good. And so we get out and we do field interviews with them people. And sometimes if they're a 13, 14-year-old, we load them up. We take them to the police department because we want to find the parent to come down, get the kid, and then maybe we can all learn together what you're doing out at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. And, but I will say this, you have these issues and you think it's a lot of people. Normally it's not a lot of people. If you have all of a sudden you got 20 internados, or not 20 separate people doing these internados, breaking into cars, it's usually one person that's doing it. And then we have to catch them. Same thing with a lot of this tit for tat shooting back and forth at one another. It's not a large section of the community. It's a very, very small section, just a few people, but a few people can make a whole lot of racket. And, but we do appreciate all the help we get, and we thank you for that.
If I can, Commissioner, just one last thing. So I know it's just to address some of the elephants in the room. So if there's any litigation going on, any department up here, then we cannot legally speak on it. I know I see a question here about that. If it's being going through the legal system, then we cannot speak on it. We'll be breaking the law in multiple ways, and that's why the few things that are going on in the community that that's out there, because they're going through the court process, we just can't speak on it. Once it's done going through that process, then we'll come back and make a statement. And that's in regards to all our services. We got a few things, a few issues that is currently being addressed. So I'll leave that as it is. And one last thing, I know we're running for time. I just want to, Ray, you want to say anything? You're not going to say nothing?
Come on, say something.
I want to say this. She works in our code department. And we got a new co-officer. I feel bad I forgot her name already.
Her name is Tammy Bennett.
Miss Bennett. Miss Bennett is from Waycross as well. So she came to us because she wants to make an improvement in the community. So she came looking for this job to come as far as the abandoned house properties. And I'm so grateful when people come get asking for jobs like that, and they're local. But they got a very tough job. Like y'all mentioned some things here today. Code enforcement is only doing their job. And according to the regulation and guidance that we have currently on the books at the state and the federal level and local level. So that's all they're doing. It's about safety over everything else. You know, we do have some people that could be better landlords. We have some people to be better renters, and we can't really get involved in that process. All we can do is make the structure safe for the community. So that's the only goal. So I know sometimes there have been issues when they perform their duties. They have body cams on. And I will tell you this, every time I had a complaint and I go look at the body cam, it's totally different from what the resident said to me. And I want to make sure the resident knows that they have body cams on. So, you know, that way, if it is an issue, I mean, still come, but just know they got a body cam on so we can get the right situation. Granted, everybody going to view the situation differently, regardless of the camera or not the camera. But they got cameras on, and I want to resolve it as soon as possible. We got a lot going on. So sometimes it takes a few days when you do have complaints, issues, or to follow up on those issues. But most definitely the codes is really trying to improve, well, first of all, make everything safe for the residents, and then improve the quality of our structures here in regard to our houses and our businesses. And then Matt just walked in. That's our public work director. He was the gentleman who came up with the zone concept as far as how we do operations in public works. Matt came from up north, if you don't know him. And I know we're pressed on time right now. If you got some questions about public works, because he came late, he gonna stay late and he'll answer some of your questions that you have about a few things.
I thought it started at 6:30. I apologize. I can't tell time.
Yeah, he goes. We all stay after if you didn't want to ask a question out loud. But if you got a question that we don't get answered here, just put it on the card and we'll make sure we follow up. Yes, sir. In the back. So get with your commissioner, and I know like Commissioner Simmons just got with we have some volunteer groups, and we had some volunteer groups go and help out 2 homes. I won't say the addresses, but help them clean their properties up, because recognize we got these 2 homes. I think they were both 80 and 90. The people that live there, very old. So the volunteer groups came and cleaned the house up for them, and then the city kind of helps out with the transition of the trash collection, stuff like that. We also had last Saturday, I want to say, Homes for Habitat came through. They did more than 10 homes. I don't know the total number. But they did help out for sure 10 homes as far as getting some stuff done. We're looking to put these groups together on a more group effort. And that way we can just, when something comes up, because the city, legally, we can't do certain things. So we can only go so far on property. And that's what we do. But with those volunteer groups and the city residents, the city workforce, they can volunteer themselves to help out. We've done many things on weekends. A lot of us clean homes up, do stuff with our unhoused population. We do a lot with them on the weekends, throughout the week. But as residents, get with your commissions, identify the house, definitely identify the issues, because a lot of times we don't know if Mrs. and Mrs. Smith, 80 and 90 years old, we just don't know. And although we might be doing the code thing, they're not gonna answer the door for us, and we really want to just help them out. So if we know, when we know, we try our best to help them first. That's with anybody, actually, when we know. But the fastest way, like you just asked, sir, is when the community gets involved and helps out as well. Because we've seen that as well in a lot of districts where community volunteers come in there and clean homes up when they know as well. So again, get with your commissioners. They'll contact me, and we'll allot what city resources we can, and we'll go from there. Now, the first thing I'm probably going to do is call one of the volunteer groups and tell them what the problem is, and they go from there. Let me say one more part on the volunteer groups. So we do have, we work with the kids at the Alpha Center. That's the alternative school. The Mayor's Youth Council. That's another group of kids, or not kids, young people. They help out as well. And with the with the Alpha Center, I have the police come over there with me sometimes, and some of our staff, we speak to those kids because we're trying to catch them before they go too far left. And we got kids there, it's 5th and 6th grade already, who've done some stuff, you shouldn't do till you're 20. And that's when you got those really bad situations to be doing that. So we're trying to reach in there and prevent them from going down the road and becoming a problem for everybody later on. So I will ask if you want to volunteer to do that, just contact the Alpha Center because they need volunteers as well.
Okay, in closing, before we close, I want to ask Commissioner Simmons if he has any parting gifts.
I won't stand, but Mr. King, there was an organization here in Waycross some years ago called Partnership with Neighborhoods, and that's what the purpose was. So I'm looking at trying to reinitiate that, get that started again, so we get things in the community done for people who can't do for themselves. And that's my closing comments.
Okay, thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank the city manager for giving us his time, Chief Cox, Chief Blackburn, Code, and Matt, even though he was late coming in. But well, a special thanks to the IT business integrated director, they call it. He does a great job. I mean, if you want to know anything about Waycross, go on the website. He's done a great job on all those IT things. If you don't know, it's because you don't want to know, because it's there. And at this time, I want to close it out. And thank you all for coming out. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you all for coming. And I would really like to thank all of you for that activity we had downtown for the swamp fest. It was awesome. It was very awesome.
Yes, it was.
And thank you all for allowing safety everything. Thank you much.
Thank you. And I'll be doing this again in September. And he's going to join me again. And I thank him for that. And with that, I will wish you guys a great evening and God bless you all. Thank you. Have a good night.